Hello everyone, my name is Protesilaos, also known as Prot. In this video, I want to show you the custom code I have to generate org clock reports for my coaching sessions. I will include the code I use on my website in the publication that will embed this video on my website. So if you don't want to watch the video and just want to check the code, you can follow the link in the description if you are on the video hosting platform, and you will get directly to the code. But here I want to demonstrate what that code does, and then you can study the technicalities of the code at your own pace. The idea then is for me to generate a clock table from the meetings I have done with a given person. And this clock table will tell me how much time I spent during those meetings, and thus I can do my billing, accounting, all that stuff. What I have here in front of me is a demo file that I wrote right now, and it is a realistic representation of my coach.org file, the file that I use for all my coaching sessions. In that file, I have entries such as what you see over here. They are all top level. It's a very simple structure. A keyword, the name of the person, and then a description of what we are about to do or likely to do, followed by a deadline. For my purposes, the deadline here is the start date and time in this case. So I am meeting with Protesilaos in this case to discuss org custom clocking on Sunday, the 15th of December 2024 at 17 hours at 5 p.m. This is the idea. Once I am done with the meeting, I will mark it as done, of course, and org will automatically add the closed timestamp. If you have ever used org, you know how this works. You mark it as done, it will add the timestamp. Let me just do it here. It will add the timestamp like that. So it is done. Now there is a closed tag, and you get the idea. Let me undo so that we can keep the state of the file as it is. So once I have the closed date and the start date, so end and beginning, once I have those two, I can calculate the difference between them to figure out how much time I spent. So here, just by the eye test, I can see that we started at 1 p.m., we finished at 2:30 p.m., so that's an hour and a half. I can figure that out. Of course, I can do that programmatically. Now, org has a mechanism for clocking in and out of tasks and finding the time you have spent on them that way. Let me show you here how it is very quickly. So you clock into a task with Emacs org clock in or Control C, Control X, Control I. And once you do that, you have the clocked task mentioned in the mode line, and this is accompanied by a logbook drawer which tells you that there is a clock running over there. When you are done, either clocking or with the task or together, you can clock out, mx org clock out, or you can mark the task as done. So in this case, I will just mark it as done. And this has closed it the usual way, but it has also associated a clock entry here, which tells me from 5 minutes to 6 minutes, that's a minute. This is the idea. This mechanism is totally fine. It works. I have used it plenty of times, and I am happy with it. However, it has some drawbacks for my case over here. One, it duplicates information that I already have. I don't need to know that, hey, at 5 we are starting the session. I know it. That's the whole point of this deadline. I have to be there on time. I cannot just show up whenever I want. So that is a given. The end time is a given as well. It's the time when we concluded the meeting, and I immediately marked it as done. So I don't need to manually clock in, clock out, and in case I want to restart Emacs while in the session, figure out how to resolve the idle time in between and all that. or restore the state of the clock. I don't need to do any of that. The information is here. I don't want any more work to do. So what I did is I wrote a custom set of functions, which I will show you the code of as well, as I said. But now let's see how it works. So I will do Emacs prot.org coach report. This is the name of the command. And what it does is it prompts me for a name, defaulting to the last name that I wrote. So in this case, we can select Protesilaos. So I will do that, enter, and then it tells me, okay, since when should we start counting? Since when until today? You will notice that our tasks with Protesilaos here, our sessions are on the 10th, 11th, 12th, and then there are some more further down, 1, 2, 3, first, second, and third of the month. And then, of course, there is one which is still to be done for later today. I will say then that let's do from the 9th, from the beginning of this week. So this means that those three at the bottom should not be included in the report, but those three at the top should be reported. So I will select the 9th, enter, and this has popped up a new buffer. Let me focus just this buffer so we see what we have. What my custom function has done is, of course, it has collected the data in a new buffer, as we have already seen. In this new buffer, it has put the headings it found that match my criteria. So the name of the person and the date that is past the one I am interested in. So I am meeting with this person since the 9th of December. I have met with this person 3 times over here. And once it does that, it will take the deadline and use it programmatically as the start time of the clock. So I never clock into this manually. I don't do any of that busy work. This is automatic. It takes the deadline and says, okay, this is the start time, put it there. It takes the close time and says, okay, this is the clock out time, the end time. Put it on the other side here and measure the difference between the two. This is the idea. And we see it over here as well, you see? So this is 2.3 hours. So we see it like that. 2.30, sorry, not 0.3. 2.2 hours and 30 minutes anyway. And once it does all that, it will produce a clock at the top, a clock report, where it shows me the dates of the tasks, the description of the task, how much time it was spent on it, and what percentage of the total time does this constitute. And so I see that for those 3 tasks with Protesilaos, we spent 5 hours since the 9th of December 2024. Let's go back to my demo file over here and see this again. You will notice that this was not included because this is not done. So, of course, there is nothing to report here. It wouldn't also be done if it was cancelled. So let me actually have something here. So let's have here, let's call it cancel. And let's see, it was about something that does not matter. Let's have it like this. And it was canceled. So the time I closed it doesn't really matter. But let's see. I have it on the same date. Let's do now the same command with the same person. And it is, again, from the 9th. Let's do it like that. We still see that the canceled heading is not here, which is exactly what we want. We don't want to be counting something that didn't happen. So in this case, I don't care about the close date. If it's canceled, it's not included. And you see that this file has a lot going on. There are many students. So Atlas is one of my dogs. And of course, Protesilaos is me. Let's then do another run here. So I will now do a search for Atlas. And I will search, let's see, what are the dates here? 10, 11, 12. let's search for the 11th, from the 11th onward. So I will do that. And here I am like, okay, we have with Atlas for this task, we spent 50 minutes, for this task, 45 minutes. And so that's really nice. I have the information readily available when I need it. And again, I must stress that this data of the clocks is not in my actual file. And this is really important because I don't want to duplicate information, and I don't want to have this overhead of, hey, did I actually clock in? Did I clock out? Oh my goodness, I didn't do it. Let me manually edit the clock data. It's too much work. I don't need to bother with it. What I also don't want to bother with is the clock report itself. So let's put it from the 1st of December now, so that we have all the tasks with Protesilaos here. I don't want this to be embedded in my file either, because for me, this is not data. For me, this is a report. This is information that is extracted from my data. This is a query, basically, against the database. This is the output that I get. It's useful for me to maybe send it as an email to the person and say, hey, here is what we did, and you take it from there, and for me to do the billing and so on. For those purposes, it is useful, but otherwise, I don't care about this. This can disappear into the ether, and if I need it again, I will call the command. It's simple. So as I said, I will include the code for this in the file, in the publication rather, that will embed this video on my website. So if you are watching this on the video hosting platform, there will be a link in the description. However, this code is also part of my .emacs, my Emacs configuration. So if you prefer to check that, which actually has a ton of custom code, you can go there, and specifically here, it's the prot-org.el file. You will find it in my .files or on my website. You see it here, the .emacs page. And specifically here, we have the prot.org coach report, and we have here the code. And I will let you study all this, and you will get how it is done. But the important thing is to see how it works, to get an idea of it, and then you will see how I am doing things. Of course, I have lots of other things that I am doing, but this is the idea with those clock tables that I find really, really useful for my purposes. That's all for now, folks. Thank you very much for your attention. Take care and goodbye.